Hey, Dream Drivers. Welcome to episode 300 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. Can you believe this? 300 episodes later. I started this podcast on January 1st, 2016. 6 years later, have reached 300 episodes, and it really has just been a blessing to be able to come on here for almost, once a week over the past 6 years and to share stories of how others have been putting their dreams into drive and also how I have been putting my own dreams into drive. I think that this podcast has been a testament to what can happen when you don't quit upon yourself, and also what can happen if you just have an inkling of a dream and a desire to put that thing into motion. When I first started this podcast in 2015, actually, when I had the idea, you guys know that Checkers parking lot story, right? When I had the idea for Dreams and Drive, I never really imagined where it would take me, the opportunities that it would take me. And even now, over the past year, just how much the connections I've made through Dreams and Drive had afforded me such amazing things. I could reflect on so much that has happened over these past 300 episodes, but I don't really think that's the best way to spend the time together that we have here today. I really want to talk about with you guys this idea of like a big revelation that I've had and just give you a quick checkup on where I am, things I've been working on, and just talk. Like, I have put off doing this episode for a while now because I'm like, you know what? I need to have something big, something splashy. I need to create something that will be worth people's time for the 300th episode. And then I was like, just because it's the 300th episode does not necessarily mean that it has to be this big splashy thing. It can be whatever it is supposed to be. And for that, I'm just going to take some time and talk to you guys. But before we get into the episode, as always, please make sure that you're following us across social media. You can find us across the board on Dreams and Drive. So we're Dreams and Drive on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So make sure you're following us there, connect, show that you're listening to this episode, show love for 300th episodes. Maybe you can even share, like, what's your favorite Dreams and Drive episode? What is something that Dreams and Drive has really set forward in your own life? I would love to see you guys sharing your own Dreams and Drive memories and stories. So for that, we are going to just be reposting everybody. And remember, if you want to get some Dreams and Drive gear, I still have like a very limited amount of Dreams and Drive gear left, but you can use the code 300 at checkout for 30% off Dreams and Drive gear. That's use the code 300 at checkout for 30% off Dreams and Drive gear. And just go to dreamsanddrive.com/shop. That's dreamsanddrive.com/shop if you want to purchase that gear. And if you want to join our weekly newsletter, The Keys, and get weekly updates delivered to your inbox via email, then you can sign up at dreamsanddrive.com/join, dreamsanddrive.com/join. So let's catch up with Raina, Dreams and Drive. What is going on in my world? As you guys know, I still am working full time. Also, I work at Paramount, formerly Viacom CBS, as a marketing manager in their partnerships, brand content studio. And it's been really a breath of fresh air to be able to practice like my marketing skills and to be back on a team. I will say, like, there are some things about being in the working world that I miss that I think I didn't really have when I was working solo. And I do like having that team spirit, that accountability. So it's just something that it's refreshing. And I want to just be transparent here and say, I think a lot of times when we're thinking about dream driving, and I know a lot of the guests that I've had on the show have been all like very entrepreneurial, have set out and done their own thing, but it really is fine to have your 9 to 5 and to be putting your dreams into drive at the same time. So I'm happy that I'm able to speak to that perspective, because my 9 to 5 does give me this anchor that I need, especially financially when it comes to having a family, having a son. And it also, oddly enough, gives me the space to really also focus on dreams and drive. I found, and I don't know if any of you guys have been like this, but I found when I have more time, sometimes I have less time. So now that I know I have my work and I know I have to get dreams and drive done, I'm just really more focused. So it's giving me perspective, like saying, hey, Raina, whenever you, or if you ever decide to go back into doing full-time entrepreneurship, you need structure. You work well with structure. So figuring out like what your work style is very important, especially when dream driving. So I've been doing that. I've had some great wins over the past year, have really built my confidence just in being around other smart, talented entrepreneurs. Or I should say entrepreneurial spirited people in the company. I don't know who else has like side hustles like me, but it really has just been nice to just get that validation and confirmation that, hey girl, you got these great skills that have been translated into your own business, but also can be translated to help big business like Paramount also grow. Axel is now, a year and a half, and it's just so amazing to see him grow. As you guys know, when I announced I was pregnant, right? Like I really was super nervous about what my mothering would be, how mothering would be for me. And I can honestly say now that I am 18 months into this motherhood experience, I have so much confidence and I really have so much joy. Motherhood is tough, but seeing your child grow, there's nothing compared to it. And just seeing him learn and take on the world has been inspiring to me. Like, listen, he is looking up to everything you do. He's repeating you. You are his first model. What kind of legacy do you want to build for him? So that's something that I've been personally working on. I think the one area of his life and my life that I really need to get together is just like the whole idea of wealth generation or generational wealth, and how can I make sure that I'm passing him down, and also passing him down something, and then also making sure I'm setting his future up for success, right? So what kind of like stocks or investments, like what type of future forward facing things am I laying in place now? What do I have to teach myself about? That might be something that I want to do some more episodes on the show, because I know for me, it can be nerve wracking and scary, and it's not an area that I'm 100% confident in. But I really think it's important, especially if you have children, like to set them up for future success. And that's really been my priority, to make sure I have these things in place just in case something happens to me, and when something does, because eventually I will not be here. And hopefully that is a long way from now, but I also just want to make sure that I'm setting the foundation for those things today. We're heading into spring, so I'm really excited to just think about what can I do this summer? Like I was looking at videos the other day, I had that Dreams and Drive dinner party back in 2019. And I really loved that. I had the other meetup in New York in like the summer. And depending upon the state of the world, I would really love to revisit those ideas and perhaps have like a meetup somewhere, maybe New Jersey. I would love to do a dinner party again, but I don't really know like logistics wise or just safety wise, like how that would work. But listen, I'm here for it. I say this all the time. And, this is why I kind of like still being the host of this show. And you guys can see there's a lot of things that I've been saying for a long time. There's also a lot of things that I've been saying for a long time I have gotten done. So I think I want to like challenge myself to go back and listen to the podcast from like day one up until now, and to just see all the growth that I've made, because I know for 300 episodes, there definitely has been growth. There's been growth from just how I interview people, growth with my own confidence in talking to people. So I would love to just go back and see like what were some of the things that I said I wanted to do and I actually went out and did it. Like I know in 2016, I wasn't thinking about having a kid, right? But 2020, here I am, a new mom. Finally moved into a new spot. I don't know if I mentioned that before. And that was through a Dreams and Drive guest. Got a new job through a Dreams and Drive guest. So it's just amazing to see how this podcast is continuing to be a light and a gift and a path forward for me. Other things that I want to update you guys on. So what the podcast itself, I think that we are in much need of a rebrand. We are in much need of not redoing the mission, but really refining the mission and just getting people excited about it. My biggest thing with Dreams and Drive has been, I feel like not enough people know about the show. And I feel like the interviews that we've done cover the gamut of industries, cover so many different types of people, types of stories, that they really are inspiring. And when I hear other people do interviews, I'm like, yo, I could do that too, or I've done that too. It's so funny because there's people on the show who I've had on the show, and I just think, yo, they are now doing some amazing things. Like I'm looking at my interview list right now, right? Like Christina Brown, I love Brown Sugar. She's now at Facebook, just bought a house. Like Lori Swink, I had her on the show, like episode 20. Who else? People like Nicole Walters, Philomena Kane. She was on Shark Tank. Let me look through this list. Rob Hill Sr., Nicole Kane. I love Nicole. You know what? I'm going to make a note. I would love to talk to Nicole about, she's formerly of XO Nicole, but about her new journey, My Flow. I think that's the name of it. We've had some really awesome people on the show, like Jasmine Lawrence, the Minted Cosmetics girls, Melissa Butler of the Lip Bar, and now she's doing amazing things at Target. Aaliyah Janelle, who was this dope photographer, one of the leaders in the Heels movements, and now she's out here just doing amazing things. Beatrice Espada, of My Honey Pot, like she's just done amazing things. We have Felicia Leatherwood, who is Issa Rae's hairstylist on Insecure. I sometimes am just so humbled and amazed by all the amazing people that we've had on the show and their stories. I follow people like Pinky Cole, Slutty Vegan, and how she's just out here being a boss mom, boss chick, buying the block, scaling up Slutty Vegan. And it's interesting because I think sometimes when you interview people, or I'll say this for myself, when I interview people and I see all that they're doing, and I sometimes say to myself, why not me? And I have to come to the reality that I can't be asking that, because I think a lot of us, so many of us have a purpose, right? And I honestly, truly feel like my purpose is in telling stories and telling other people's stories and in helping other people find the light within themselves. And this is how I came to the idea for talking about the big revelation. I want to go to the notes app on my phone, because when I get these ideas late at night, I write it down. And I'm just going to read to you word for word what I thought about like a few nights ago and why I wanted to call this the big revelation 300 episodes later. And what I wrote down is, we all have something that makes us shine. And the reason why I say makes us shine, and it's really interesting that I talked about it that way, because when I first graduated from college in 2013, I used to have a blog, RaineCampbell.com, and it was all about helping people shine in their personal and professional lives. As you guys know, my Instagram name is Rain Shine Love, and like there's these three things that I think are always constant. There's going to be rain, there's going to be sunshine, and we all have love in some way. And just seeing that word pop up in my memory yesterday and come out in my notes, we all have something that makes us shine. So it's also an homage and an ode to where you started is going to leave clues to where you're going, right? So we all have something that makes us shine. And I want people to know and let that be the fuel that inspires them to put their dreams into drive and to keep going. One of my coaches, Rich Keller, who you guys met, I want to say episode 200, or was it, it was what episode did you guys meet Rich? You met him in episode 199. I think so many times we lose our why, right? We get all into like what we're doing, and we start seeing other people what they're doing, and then we start shifting what we're doing because of what we see other people doing. And you really have to go back to your vision statement, your purpose statement, what you're putting into your GPS, the thing that's fueling your inner GPS, as we are dream drivers, right? Is what is your why and what's the core of what you want to do. And I think the core of this podcast, 300 episodes later, has been like showing you, the listener, you who are listening to this right now, that there are other people putting their dreams into drive. But what I really want you to be encouraged to do by hearing their stories is to know that it's possible for you too. It is possible for you too. And it's going to take some type of sacrifice. It's going to take some inner thinking. But honestly, let me tell you, it is possible. All these people, they're not anomalies. They're not just one-offs. They're people just like you who have this desire, who have this inkling to do something more, and you can do it as well. There are going to be things that you're going to have to face. There are going to be successes. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be things that you're going to have to overcome. And I think that's the biggest thing that this podcast has shown me is like nobody's story is singular. Nobody's story is repeatable. Nobody's story is, everyone's story is unique. That's what I should say. Everyone's story is unique, but we all have something and we all have a dream that we can put into motion, and we can do it. It's going to be tough, but we can do it. And I really do think that we all have such unique gifts and such unique places in the world. When you think about the podcast, you think about all the different industries and all the different niches, all the different areas that people are making impacts in, and there is space for your dream. And that's the biggest thing that I want people to really take away is I could talk about all the successes and accomplishments, but I want you to know that 300 episodes later, you can still do it. This Black History Month, McDonald's is kicking off Future 22, a campaign celebrating 22 Gen Z leaders across the country who are making an impact on their communities right now. This generation may have the largest influx of young leaders since the civil rights movement. They're starting their own organizations, finding ways to empower youth and culture, standing up and speaking out. McDonald's is showcasing their efforts and the impact they're having on the world. Did you know there's Black Sign Language? It's a form of American Sign Language that truly speaks our language. Student J.C. Smith is an advocate for the Black, deaf, and blind, and is an expert in BASL who works to help keep the tradition alive. McDonald's introduces his story and the stories of other Gen Z community leaders impacting the future on Instagram at We Are Golden. So make sure you check out We Are Golden on Instagram to hear more about these Black youth leaders and their stories. So what are you dreaming of? Adventure, more family time, a change of scenery? The nerds at NerdWallet can help you take the first step towards making your dream a reality. NerdWallet is a personal finance site run by money nerds who make it easy to compare and find the smartest financial products for you. So let's say you want to book an adventure beyond your backyard. NerdWallet can help you compare and find travel rewards credit cards so that you can use everyday purchases to rack up on points for flights, hotels, and more. Or maybe you want to spend more quality time with your fam. As dream drivers, that's important. NerdWallet can help you compare and find financial advisors so you can find less time watching investments and more time with the kids. They've got tools, calculators, and side-by-side comparisons to help you find the smartest products for you so you can turn your dreams into reality. Personally, my 2022 goal is scaling dreams and drive, so I can use NerdWallet to compare hundreds of the top credit cards and investing accounts. NerdWallet makes that super easy. Are you ready to compare your way there? Compare and find the smartest credit cards, investing accounts, and more at nerdwallet.com. NerdWallet Compare Incorporated, NMLS 1617539. NerdWallet is not an investment advisor nor an investment broker. Information is for educational purposes only. It can happen for you as well. And I think a lot of us just need that weekly. It's kind of like going to church, right? Like that spiritual encouragement, that emotional encouragement, right? That it is possible. And by way of showing other people's stories, I've also shared with you guys where I am. So hopefully you see me as an inspiration. Like I may not have yet accomplished this huge accomplishment, but I've grown so much. And it's interesting because I had a podcast mastermind call with my girls, you know, Jamila of Journey to Launch, Nikayla of Side Hustle Pro, Therapy for Black Girls, Dr. Joy, and my girl Art Steele. And, you know, I forgot who mentioned it. I think it was Nikayla, and she was just like, Raina, you know, one day it's all like your path is going to make sense for you one day. And I think sometimes when you're in it, you can't really see like what's going. I think I have this idea of like, I feel like I'm so random. I feel like, you know, I'm into these so many different things. How is this all going to make sense? But it's going to make sense. It's going to make sense. And I just really thank y'all for being along this journey with me as I'm making sense of everything. I want to share these notes that I thought of in thinking about the big revelation, right? Number one is like, we're all waiting for the moment, but every moment is the moment. All right, stick with me here. We can celebrate everything and anything. And it's important to just sometimes sit back and savor where you are, savor where you've come from, savor the opportunity that you have now in this very moment to create a new beginning. And a lot of us are really shying away from doing that. And I just want to encourage you to stop looking for the moment and create the moment. That's what was one of the biggest early inspirations for me to even do this podcast. I was like, yo, I'm tired of just sitting around and waiting for someone to give me an opportunity. If I want to see something happen, I'm going to have to do it myself. And I want to just see what would happen if I show up for myself. And that's how I started the podcast. But just realizing that I was going to seize a moment instead of waiting for the moment was the thing that helped set me on this path. So if you feel like you're in park, think about that. Like, how can I seize a moment? How can I just go, just do it, Nike style, right? Just get that dream into motion. Get that dream into drive. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to know where you're going yet, but you just have to pull the gear shift into drive and be committed to moving forward. And things will unveil itself. The world, the universe, whatever you believe in, I'm telling you, it will start to make sense and you will start to see momentum. Number 2, another thing that I just want to tell to you guys or make you guys remember is that, and excuse me if there's little ones listening, you are the shit, right? You are the bomb.com. You are doing it. You have done it and you will do it. I had to tell myself this. I don't know if it's just this new phase of motherhood. For a while, I was really doubting myself, and I had to look back and look at my evidence, my track record, my proof, like 300th episodes. There's over 250 something guests. I'm not trying to say that this is how you should do it, because it definitely was not always the most time conducive, or it wasn't always like the best thing for me, but I've been doing this by myself for a while, and it also just showed in me my tenacity. So imagine just how much more I can do once I actually do start to outsource things and to start building the team and to start letting go. And on the flip side of that, all right, yes, I'm the ish, I'm the bomb.com, I've done all this stuff, but I also have to start telling myself, you need to be confident as well that others can help bring your vision to fruition and can help you grow your vision. And you have to start investing more in that. One of the things I take away from a lot of my guests is like, you will kind of be at a stagnant place in your life until you are willing to start making these type of investments. Like, scared money don't make no money. And at the same time, I talk about the Kanye West documentary a lot because I really was inspired, but like, you have to be willing to know when to take risk on yourself, and you have to be willing to know when to invest. It might be you investing and using your last, but like, it's interesting. One of my past guests, Atia McDaniels, who you guys met on the show last year, episode 285, she was my marketing client back in 2016 when I was doing like marketing coaching, and she was launching her beauty brand, Intense Beauty. She sells, very nice hair products or hair extensions, hair weaves, all that stuff. She just opened her store. I just went to her grand opening yesterday in Vauxhall, New Jersey. And to see her growth and to see how 4 years ago, she did not say, all right, I'm going to give up. I'm going to make it through. And she's had her own journey to date, and to see that has been really inspiring. And it's also like, girl, there are people around you making moves. Continue to make your moves as well. It's going to pay off. I'm telling you, it's going to pay off, because you know why? You the shit. Number 3, connections matter. Like, you do not have to do this alone. And there are so many people within your network that you can leverage. And I think sometimes a lot of us aren't really leveraging our networks enough. I think about the whole Issa Rae model, and I had her manager, Benoni Tego, on the show, and he was episode 161. And just thinking about Benoni talking about his secret to traction and getting results, and how he really is kind of like one of the brains behind her whole Hooray Media radio empire. When Issa first started out, they all started out together. Like, Issa was networking horizontally and thinking about like, who's also on the grind like me? Who can I team up with now to get things done? And I really appreciated that about Issa, because I think that it's a model that we all can take. There are people in your network right now who are also trying to build together. Like, people, you have met people, invest in connections, relationship building, because that is going to be what's going to help get you ahead, especially in a time like this where you're not always going to have funds. You're not always going to have, what am I trying to say? Like, it's not always about money, but it's really going to be about relationships and who remembers you. People won't always remember what you did for them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. Or sometimes they will remember what you did for them in areas where it counts or what you didn't do. So just keep that in mind. Like, part of my revelation is like, I've known a lot of people, and I'm so thankful to the people and the relationships that have gotten me to where I am today. I'm not saying I couldn't have done it by myself, but honestly, I probably couldn't have. And you need people who are advocating for you when you aren't there. That's why first impressions matter. That's why thank yous matter. That's why making sure you're always showing up your best, doing your best work, and showing people that you can do the best work is so, so important. And then another revelation that I have is, as much as these are your guest stories, these are your stories as well, Raina. And the reason why I wanted to include that on 300 episodes later, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, is these guests have changed me. They have been motivation for me in ways they don't even know. Like, it could just be like me talking to Twyla Atkins the other day, and her being a new mom like myself, and her talking about how she didn't know she had multiple sclerosis and MS, and just her journey. And like, you don't know what someone is telling you at that moment is what you need to hear that day. And there have been so many times on this show where I have gotten the inspiration and the encouragement, and I don't even know if I've said thank you to my guests, but if you're listening and you've been a guest on the show, I want to say thank you, because you have aided in my own development, my own confidence building, and also my own skill set building as well, like just becoming a better interviewer. And I really do believe that interviewing is a gift of mine, and just that you have allowed your story to be on this platform and have allowed me to use my gift of storytelling to share your story is one that I'm really honored for. And because of that, I now feel like I'm part of a larger story, which is this Dreams and Drive story. And just the very act of showing up every week, even when there were times when I wasn't always 100%, I wasn't always like mentally good. There are times I've been sick. There's been times where I've been frustrated, upset. But this podcast has been a constant source of a reminder that, listen, you can go through things, but that doesn't mean that the dream has to die. There might be times when I've had to put Dreams and Drive in park, in reverse, in neutral, and I really want to get it back into drive again. And I'm really just excited about brainstorming and getting that creative juice back, because I talk about this a lot. It's like, think about what inspired you as a child. And the reason why I start every episode with that is because I truly am fascinated with who we were as children and how that shows up for us today. And I'm going to kind of close this out a little bit. In reading to you guys, I always talk about like what inspired. I always ask our guests, like, what inspired you as a child? And I think it goes back to the thing that makes us shine. I think as children, we're these pure, unique souls. And what's inspiring us in the world is also what's helping to make us shine. That's ability to experiment, this excitement, this zest for life. And whenever I think about who I was as a child, I think about how much of that is still in me. And also I think about how far I've come. So I want to share and end this with a little story here. And if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know it. But I recently uncovered this letter that I wrote to Oprah in 4th grade. And just to give you some background, so my elementary school was very small, but it was like a K-6 school, and there was always talks of it supposed to be getting renovated, and they were supposed to build it out and make it bigger and all this stuff. And it just never happened. And I remember one time, it was always a big talk, Cleveland Street needs to be renovated. And it currently is now getting renovated 20 years later, right? But my dad one day was like, hey, Raina, you need to write Oprah a letter because Oprah has the means and she can help you. And, now that I'm a parent, I don't know if my dad really thought that Oprah could help us. Maybe he did because my dad's kind of a dreamer like me. But once he told me, you know what, Raina, there's someone out there who can help you, I said, okay, I'm going to write her a letter. And I just want to read this to you guys because honestly, I'm really amazed at who little Raina was and the joy that I had and the excitement and I wasn't fearful of rejection. And I really was so hopeful and optimistic. And I think sometimes a lot of us, just with life as it is now, it's really hard to be optimistic. It's really hard to not be filled with pessimism because there's just so many unknowns in the world now. But I'm going to read to you the most optimistic letter. And I'm just also so impressed at who little Raina was. And if you guys have been following me for the past 6 years, hopefully you will understand just how this is part of my calling, and whatever Dreams and Drive wherever it takes me next, I'm really excited for it because I know the young Raina would be so proud of who I am today. So let me read to you this letter. Dear Oprah, mind you, I'm in 4th grade writing this, guys. How are you doing? My name is Raina Campbell. I attend Cleveland Street School. It's 102 years old. In fact, it seems like the first pair of students are still sitting in their seats. I typed this. Our classrooms are obsolete. We don't have enough school books to pass around to all the students. Chairs and desks are limited. Supplies run out quick and no refills are available. We have the best teachers out of Orange elementary schools. You see, they aren't treated like that. They're not given the opportunity to teach their best. Our gym, cafeteria, and auditorium are all in one. It's not even fit to be one of them. My friend found a caterpillar in her salad once and mold all over her salami. That's why I bring my own lunch every day. You see, it seems as if it's still in 1899. My school may be beautiful in architecture, but not in size. It's too small to fit over 400 students. My school is obsolete. For years now, the PTO has been fighting to expand the school, but the state isn't giving into it. They can expand the big enough schools for the rich, nice suburbs, but why is it when it comes to Orange, they just don't want to look in our point of view? Even my classmates want a better playground, swing sets, or even a basketball hoop. We have to walk to another school for an auditorium. The so-called gym has ants crawling up the walls and isn't big enough to hold a class of 22. That same gym is our lunchroom. The same problem persists. Classes are too small. We don't have enough of them. The oven that they cook food in isn't even as big as my 5-burner stove. Could you imagine walking to a school to get an education, but the education you want to get is coming from a slump? You might be wondering, why won't this girl's parents send her to private school? You see, Miss Winfrey, my parents can't afford to send my sister to college and then their 2 younger girls to private school. I want everyone at my school to have a chance of succeeding, and that's why I'm asking you, a person of ability, to help at Cleveland Street School. You might not want to, but just take some time to think about this. Can you please help my school? It's in need of many things, and some people don't want to help us. When I look at your show and see all the good things you do for people, I think Oprah has such a good heart. I wonder if she could do something for the students of Cleveland Street. Whatever you do with this letter, I hope you give it consideration. Sometimes it takes 2 of the same kind to make a matter better. Love, Raina Campbell. And I want to end that go back to your inner child. Your inner child is going to leave you reminders of who you are, your purpose. And I hope from that letter you realize how much and why Dreams and Drive is so important to me, because I really do believe we all have a set chance and we all deserve to be successful. And sometimes we just need that fuel. Sometimes we just need that food. I'm not trying to say I'm trying to be the Oprah for people's dreams, but it's just so interesting to see how, it's still unfolding. It's still unfolding, and it will unfold for you too. If you guys enjoyed this episode, I know it's not this big, grandiose 300th episode. Please share it with your network. I really do appreciate it. We are Dreams and Drive across the board. And stay tuned, right? Stay tuned for all the new content, all the new episodes. Please continue to pitch the show. If you want to be on the show, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. If you want to get some Dreams and Drive gear, the very limited amounts that we do have left, you can use the code 300 at checkout for 30% off your order. So please, guys, stay tuned. We have a lot baking, a lot in store for Dreams and Drive. And I'm so happy to have you, Dream Drivers, in my passenger seat, in the back seat, riding along with me as my son would say, as we vroom, vroom out of here. Keep dreaming, keep driving, and we shall chat again, episode 301. Bye, guys.